Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. 5 essential tools every archer must have in their toolbox. These are the main essentials. Keep that in mind. They're not all the tools, there's a lot. But these are the major essentials you need, okay? And we're going to talk about why. First of all is our T-bar square, okay? You need this for setting brace height for here. And of course, for traditional archers, your knocking point, okay? Very important tool to have. Well, you can also use it on a compound, I suppose, for setting your D-loop as well. Also very handy. I just do my D-loops by eye. So that's number one. Number two, but do not buy a luggage scale that is hand-drawn, okay? I have had this luggage scale for years. I've used it for weighing parcels, literally. And this thing is accurate within like less than a pound, okay? We've tested it against Canada Post, obviously, because we weigh our packages up, do quotes for customers online. We use this thing and we get our reading, we give them a quote. By the time we get to the post office, it's within about a half a pound. It doesn't change the price any, so we're good to go. But we don't do that anymore because I no longer have a business for doing that sort of stuff. So I use this for my archery right now because I wanted to test the bows that I bought, my traditionals, okay, which is, for 40 pounds, I didn't think it would be a big deal. And this one is not a big deal. This thing at least is quality built, unlike the crap on Amazon that'll blow up in your hand and shatter pieces everywhere, injure you. And if you pull back on a compound bow like a couple people did, their bows blew up in their faces too. So that wasn't really good. Do not buy cheap luggage handheld scales. Buy a proper all metal enclosured scale. Even if you get a defective one, they'll replace it. It's not a big deal. You will get a good one. Okay? And I like the digital stuff myself. And I'm going to be buying one because this, I trust it to a certain point, but I know it's still dangerous, and I still am taking chances every time I mess with my bow poundage on my compound bows. Okay? I know exactly where all my recurves sit at currently, but I'm also doing some testing with those right now by leaving them strung and then rechecking because I'm kind of curious too as to whether or not there's any mythological voodoo garbage or if it's factual information. And I don't mind a few sacrificial lambs in the mix if I drop a couple of pounds. At least I know. But I also have one bow in particular that is staying strung up for probably another couple of weeks because I am stretching the string in, and I have found out that that cheap Amazon string has yet again decided to stretch out and dropped my brace height by 1/8 of an inch, okay? And I need to make sure and maintain it stays at 7 1/4 because I'm very happy with that. There's a minimum and maximum brace height we're allowed. The maximum brace height, if you go with it, just keep in mind, you will slow your bow down, okay? The higher your brace height, the slower your bow goes. The lower it is, the faster your bow is. So I always go with the minimum brace heights. That's where I keep them, and they work best at top speeds too. But with a brand new string, it takes a while, even for a fast flight, to actually finally settle out and stop stretching on you. Okay, well, at least it'll stop stretching for a long time. Okay, it will eventually stretch again a little bit, so you always got to keep an eye. So you're always supposed to unstring your traditional bows and long bows and all that, recurves, whatever, when you're done using them because it's apparently not good for the limbs. Composite limbs, this is where mine are all composite limbs, so I'm not overly concerned. I've read enough info online that 5 or 6 months of leaving a composite limb strung up is not going to harm it. Compound bows are never affected. They're a completely different material from our traditional bows, so we don't worry about compounds. But with traditional bows, we do have to be a little bit more on the cautionary side that way. Okay, for the compound bow users out there, this is a very essential tool. You need to make sure your limbs are precisely and exactly balanced for the turns. You can eyeball all you want, but your eyeballs will deceive you. Trust me, they deceive me all the time. Glasses or no glasses, it's deceiving, okay? And I have found many a time where I know that for a fact is in exactly the same place. No, it's not. one limb is going to be a little tighter in than the other. Now, what I do is I pick whatever limb I'm going to start with. I'm going to take my full turn out or turn in or 2 turns or whatever I'm doing, and I'm going to set that limb. Then I'm going to take the back end of this, and I'm going to open this sucker up, and I am going to get this so that it is perfectly balanced in a area between the bottom of the limb and the top of the riser. And then I'm going to lock this, and then I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to check it about 3 or 4 times and make sure it's reading it exactly the same every time. Then I'm going to go to the other limb, and I'm going to adjust it. And I'm going to do the same thing. And then I'm going to check it, and lo and behold, it's either going to be a little on the loose side or it's going to be a little on the tight side. So I got to do one of the other two. I got to tighten the bolt, or I got to loosen the bolt a little bit till this is fitting the exact same way. Then the tiller is balanced, the weight ratios are balanced between the limbs, and the bow will still shoot properly. Because if you are out even by a smidgen too much, you're going to mess with your tiller, and you're going to mess with the bending of your limbs as you draw back, which will throw off your shot, guaranteed. I have found that happen to me many a times, and that's where I now always use this as a backup to make sure that they are properly balanced. This way, if something goes wrong, then at least I know it's either me, Mother Nature, or one of my arrows. Let's get to the next tool. Next tool is a spinner. Now, this is a spin tester. This particular model is only for checking the straightness of your arrow. Okay, there are models out there that they call it a spin tester. It is not. It's got 2 sets of bearings, but it's got a wall at one end, okay? And that wall has a block in it for sandpaper. That is for tweaking the ends of your arrows on each end when you're building your own arrows. That's what that tool is for. That's only essential if you are building your own arrows. Otherwise, you don't need it, okay? Don't worry about it. So, but this thing, now, there is one on Amazon. It is all plastic. It's got these thin little washers for alleged bearings. Don't buy it. It's a waste of your 35 bucks. Now, we're talking Canadian dollars on here. And I don't care what price it is. At any price, even at $2, I wouldn't give you a nickel for it. It is barf, okay? Total junk. There are many models like this. This particular model, okay, is about $47 Canadian. It is channeled aluminum. It is wide, okay? It's got some thickness. It's got some weight to it. 3D printed ends, which you're going to find on all these things nowadays, okay? But it's also got quality sealed ball bearings, okay, that have a screw on this side with an Allen key head and a nylock nut on the other end. Now, I will advise you, though, if you do buy this model, check with the tension and make sure they're all equally snug. Do not reef on these things. Just make sure they are snug, okay? Because I found that I did have 1 or 2 that was a little outish because it wasn't quite tightened down properly at the factory. So all I did was I just snugged up all 4 the same, and I literally only lightly snugged them. That's all you need, and then they're fine. You'll never have to worry about it again, okay? This is a quality built piece of kit, okay, for 47 bucks. They do have a Glory model that I would like, but only if I start getting into making my own arrows, because it's like multitudes of tools in one. It is so freaking cool, but it's also about 100 bucks. But anyways, so this you need for checking your spin of your arrows. So even if you buy brand new arrows, you have them custom cut in the shop, if he or she does not spin test them for you, make sure you spin test them when you get home, okay? Because it's important that you don't have any wobble in your arrow in the straightness so that it's going to fly straight, okay? And also make sure that your arrows are cut to the proper length for your draw length as well. I'm a 28-inch draw left-handed. I shoot bows, by the way, both ways, okay? Left and right, kind of like I play guitar. Left-handed guitar, right-handed guitar. Right-handed guitar, right-handed. Left-handed guitar, left-handed. I do the same thing with bows, okay? And I can do it really good, so I'm quite happy with myself. But my draw length is 27 inches right-handed, 28 inches left-handed. So for my 28 side, all my arrows are cut shaft to shaft 28.5 inches. Okay, I need that extra space in front of the riser with the tip and the nock, etc. And I get a perfectly balanced out arrow that shoots amazing. Okay, Then for my 27-inch side, I have those shafts cut shaft to shaft. You guessed it, 27.5 inch. Okay, so anyways, that's giving me the optimal best results out of my bows and the best accuracy possible with my, obviously, my arrows, my equipment, my setups, and a lot of practice, obviously, too. Okay, so, but I make sure, because I'm still buying Easton arrows, but I'm still buying Chinese arrows too. I bought a batch of 36 altogether. I had 4 duds, basically. They won't group if their life depended on it. And I'm keeping them around for some odd reason. I don't know why, but it's handy to have a couple of these kicking around just for giggles to, you know, also say, hey, look, you can definitely get a defect here, but look, the rest of these all spin perfect. And the rest of mine that I have left, I have 6 that are about 97%. I also sold a set of 6 to a buddy of mine that are like 99%. And then I've got my 100% perfect ones sitting in my case ready to go hunting. They've also been shot tested and group tested, and they are perfect. So, voila. But I am starting to now think about, maybe 520 grains is a little heavy. Maybe I should go back to a 390. Okay, but I don't know, because I could drop some poundage off my bow, go to 390s, and, you know, I'm kind of in a debate right now, because it's this whole arrow weight thing that's got me starting to think more one side or the other. Is there a happy medium? What's the happy medium? Where should I really be at? Well, you know what? Right now, at 520 grain, I'm doing wonderful, and I'm pulling 58 pounds out of my bow out of 70 that it goes to. So I'm kind of thinking maybe this year I'll just do the 520 grains, and if they work fine for me in the hunting situation, fantastic. I'll keep using them. But I also like these 390s too. They're kind of really nice. So, but we'll see. Maybe I'll do both. Who knows? Yeah, definitely an essential tool. Now, last up on the list today, arrow weight scale. No such thing. Okay, you hear me? No such thing. But you can search it out and you will find arrow weight scale. Look, it's an arrow weight scale. What makes an arrow weight scale an arrow weight scale? This little block. Now, I made this out of a piece of ebony. Okay, I love working with wood, and I love ebony because it's freaking expensive and it kills your tools quick. I went through a few bits just to make this thing. But I needed something for better balance. Now, these arrow weight scales are just regular digital scales. They come in different ranges, different quality levels, different features to them. Buy whatever the hell you want. I could care less. This is a cheap $20 scale. You can still get it on Amazon. You get just a scale. You take the lid, you put it underneath so that the scale sits on there, because at the height you're going to need to. And you put this on, and then you turn the power on. And every single digital scale is the exact same way. You need to put that block on there first so that it can calibrate itself with that extra weight so that it's calibrated to 0. Then you take your arrow, get it balanced on there so that it sits balanced and even, and then you let it sit there for a minute, and we are at 396.5 grain. Not bad. Pretty good. Pretty good. All right, so then let's take another arrow here for an example. This is a Carbon Express with no tip on it, and it doesn't matter, it's a 300 spine, but let's check the weight of this sucker. Without a tip, it's 355.6. With a tip, add an extra 100 would be 455.6. Pretty good, pretty good. Carbon Express, no tip. Let's check this puppy out. Without a tip, it's 370.4 grain. Not too shabby, okay? 470.4 with a 100 grain tip that comes out to 100 grain. Always weigh your tips too, by the way. So, then we have our Ockmoss. These are, wow, I have these ones here at the side because they're defective. With the tip, we're looking at 528.9. Okay, that's a fairly heavy arrow. Trust me, it is. Yeah, so you need to know the weight of your arrows. Why is your arrow weight necessary to know? Well, because you got to know what the heck you're shooting. And you want to know that they're all plus or minus within that fudge room, which they all will be. It's very difficult at best to ever get arrows that are all precisely the same weight. That takes a lot of fine-tuning work if you're that anal about it. But people who are that anal are the ones who are building their own arrows, so they're going to build them that way, okay, that they are all that precise in weight, which does, by the way, affect the length of the arrow the majority of the time, because some of your arrows will be a little bit shorter, some of them may end up being a little bit longer. Come to think of it, yeah, that might not work out for the little bit longer area because, well, the thing is people cut different ways. I want 27.5 shaft to shaft on my 27-inch draw bow, and I want 28.5 inch precisely on my 28-inch draw bows. And if I have to start shaving material off on one just to get it to balance to the other one because there's a weight differential because of the carbon, I'm going to end up with some arrows that are slightly shorter than others, okay, and some that are longer than others in the end. So it's kind of a thing where, yeah, I'm not going to be that anal. I'll mess with the weight of my nock. I'll mess with the weight of my tip before I'm going to screw with my arrow. If my arrow spins true, that is the major part of it taken care of. And your nock can weigh up towards to 10 grain. So if you want to drop 5 grain off, get a 5 grain nock. Okay, so buy a lot of nocks, okay, and then just experiment with different types and weights of those nocks. And, you know, you can come up with your solution that way. And you can tune the length of a nock too on the inside length and shave a little bit off if you need to and that sort of thing, and not affect its ability to be properly used. So you'd be amazed what you can actually pull off with this stuff. But these are the essentials. That's what I have for you on this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. We'll be sure to catch you on the next one. See ya.